Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of the technology. I'm trying to keep up, gang. I promise. It's kind of funny. Uh, I know how everybody gets all excited about like new platforms. It's I always hear about it. Everybody got all excited about Discord a few years ago. Look, it has audio and video, and you can go in and make rooms. I checked it out, and I'm like, oh wow, this is like Yahoo chat rooms from 2005. Yeah, y'all revive 15-year-old technology. There you go. Little pat on the back. TikTok. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Trump can't stop talking about it. It's in the news all the time. For those of you who are like 40 and over and you're wondering what the hell TikTok is, Vine. It's Vine, okay? They just remade Vine. That's all it is, okay? Um, but Trump's been going back and forth on it for a while, and it's turned into like a huge escapade. And there's a whole bunch of drama, and now it's involving like billions and billions of dollars and multinational corporate stuff. So, TikTok, Trump taxes. That's what we're doing today. So here's El Presidente real quick, Comrade Trump. Let's see what he's got to say.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be
President Donald Trump said late Friday he would sign an executive order to ban TikTok in the United States, ratcheting up the pressure on the Chinese owner to sell the popular short video app.
Okay, so it's a China thing. It's China. It's the same place where the China virus came from. Oh, those Chinese. You can't trust them. First they got the China virus. Now they got the China talk. The China talk's going to come. It's going to take your data and it's going to give it to the commies. Then you're going to end up on a commie mailing list. And, instead of getting circulars for $4 off the local high school car wash, you're going to be getting circulars for everybody gets a car wash for free. I mean, okay, so let's go. We'll go through the time machine and I'll show you where this all starts from, okay? The TikTok Microsoft Trump drama explained. For the past year, it's been thought that the app has been under government review for national security reasons, and Secretary Treasury Steve Mnuchin confirmed it last week and said he's expecting the review to conclude soon. The government committee in charge of this review is the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS, and they have the power to recommend the president force TikTok to sell to a U.S. company. CFIUS has been used on and off to leverage or break up foreign companies that have operations in America or they have a lot of American investment dollars. Basically, it's the opposite of what we do when a company is in America. See, if a company's in America, we let it keep up buying up companies and become a ginormous monopoly. If it's a foreign company, we constantly force them to break it up and sell pieces of their holdings to other American companies so that they can't have a monopoly or a stranglehold within an industry. Because, of course, that's what we do. It's our thing. Even if Trump doesn't issue a full ban, a government decision that forces TikTok's parent company to sell it off would be a game changer for social media and would threaten to disrupt the app's extraordinary popularity. For established social media giants Facebook and Google, the decision could significantly weaken their fiercest new competitor. For sale of TikTok could have negative consequences beyond people running TikTok too. The move threatens to jeopardize the success of an app that's had a meteoric rise from a relative underdog to one of the most downloaded apps in the world. To put this in relative order for people who aren't aware, because there's a whole world of social media beyond whatever two platforms you happen to use as an individual. TikTok is now like it's either, depending on which metric you look at, number one or number two social media platform. Twitter is number 10, and a distant number 10 at that, just to sort of put it in perspective for you. Last year, CFIUS started investigating ByteDance, which is the parent company that owns TikTok, which had purchased a lip sync video platform called music.ly in 2017. And then they rebranded and launched it in the US under the name TikTok. And again, the usage of it, it's very similar to Vine. If you use Vine back before Twitter bought it and then killed it once they introduced their own on-platform video. When investigation comes to a close, the committee's recommendations will reportedly lead to Trump's order for ByteDance to sell TikTok or divest its U.S. operations. So what's next? If Microsoft or another major U.S. company purchases TikTok, it's likely that TikTok would remain largely unchanged. It's a valuable brand in a lucrative industry with a devoted user base. So buying TikTok would be an opportunity to seriously compete with major tech companies like Facebook and Google. I will put this on the flip side here that Microsoft is also a company that has a lot of government contracts. Microsoft handles all the back end for ICE for the US government. So they have business dealings. And more importantly, Microsoft is not Amazon, because Amazon is Jeff Bezos and Bezos owns WAPO. WAPO doesn't say nice things about Trump. So Trump is always looking for ways that he can stick it to him, and basically forcing a Chinese company to sell off, one of the most successful apps in history to a direct competitor of Amazon in the tech space is peak on brand for Trump. It's just the kind of petty that he is. So the day after Trump made that announcement, Microsoft added $77 billion in market value because their stock price skyrocketed on the rumor and possibility that they would add a hugely influential brand like TikTok. Once again, a reminder to you all that the stock exchange and the line going up and the line going down, basically all that is a monitoring device for extremely wealthy people's emotional state. And when they read news that makes them feel happy, the line goes up. And when they read news that makes them feel sad, the line goes down. Like, that's all it is. It's a barometer. So congratulations. At the moment, wealthy people are very happy. Good to know. Now, Trump, of course, because he got a bunch of decent coverage from this. It's the first decent coverage he's had in eternity after completely shitting the bed on COVID, the economy, the 92 members of his staff that he has fired over the last 3 years, only half of which he's replaced. So Trump decided to double down. And while giving one of his, rambling speeches to nobody, where he has verbal diarrhea and his brain just goes into neutral gear, but words keep coming out of his mouth. So he said that the Treasury deserves a, quote, large percentage of possible TikTok sale. President Trump reiterated Monday that he's fine with Microsoft or another American tech company buying TikTok, but said that, quote, a large percentage of the sale should go into the U.S. Treasury. I will tell you there's a lot of excitement by Microsoft and others, so we'll see what happens, Trump said during a press briefing at the White House. But we deserve to have a big percentage of price coming to the Treasury. Now, this is the same fucking nudnik that has been going out of his way to cancel every possible tax and government overhead cost for corporations and businesses around America. He just wants there to be no business taxes, no corporate taxes. Businesses can go do whatever they want willy-nilly unless they're from China. Then he forces them to sell to a U.S. company and then tells that company that they should give him a finder's fee or a VIG, like a local bookie. Like, he doesn't want to tax businesses, but he wants a mafia payout. The guy is out of his freaking mind, okay? Trump earlier in the day gave his verbal approval to a potential deal between TikTok and an American company like Microsoft, but said TikTok had until September 15th to close such a deal or face a U.S. ban. Trump administration's been weighing TikTok's fate since last year, launching an investigation amid fears that Beijing-based company shared information with the communist Chinese government. Okay, this is the Fox News write-up of this. This is the same write-up in TechCrunch, which is a tech website. Today, the president appeared to bless the budding Microsoft TikTok deal, continuing his evolution on a possible transaction after stating last Friday he'd rather see TikTok banned than sold to a U.S. company. Trump changed his tune over the weekend. TikTok's owned by China-based company ByteDance, which owns a portfolio of apps and services. A weekend phone call between the CEO of Microsoft and the American premier, aka Comrade Trump, appeared to change his mind, leading the software company sharing publicly on Sunday that it was pursuing a deal. Then today, the president, endorsing a deal between the American company and ByteDance, also said that he expects a chunk of the sale price to wind up in accounts of the American government. The American president has long struggled with the basic economic concepts. For example, who pays tariffs? But to see Trump state that he expects to receive a chunk of the deal between the two private companies that he is effectively forcing to the altar is surreal. Here's a transcription of what he actually said. We had a great conversation. He called me to see whether or not how I felt about it, and I said, look, it can't be controlled for security reasons by China. too big, too invasive, and it can't be. And here's the deal. I don't mind if whether it's Microsoft or somebody else, a big company, a secure company, a very American company, buy it. It's probably easier to buy the whole thing than 30% of it. Because they say, how do you do 30%? Who's going to get the name? The name is hot. The brand is hot. And who's going to get the name? How do you know if it's owned by two different companies? Trump loves the name, by the way, for people who aren't aware. Trump's giant real estate empire. The motherfucker's built like 4 buildings in 30 years, okay? All he does is he leases out the Trump name to large hotels around the world, and then they write Trump on the front, and they send him a check to use the name. That's right. See, Trump gravitates towards shit he knows. Like, he understands a name. He doesn't understand economics. So my personal opinion was you're probably better off buying the whole thing rather than buying 30%. I think buying 30% is complicated. You know, because then I have to do math. It requires, what's that? When you take something, you put a division. Yeah, that. It's very complicated. Here you go. I did say that if you buy it, whatever the price is, that goes to whoever owns it, because I guess it's China, essentially. But more than anything else, I said a very substantial portion of the price is going to have to come into the Treasury of the United States, because we're making it possible for the deal to happen. Right now, they don't have any rights unless we give it to them. So we're going to give them the rights. Then it has to come into this country. That's literally what he said. Trump said, if you want rights, fuck you, pay me. Okay? If that line sounds familiar, it's from the movie Goodfellas, when Ray Liotta gives his, like, Oscar-nominated monologue. What's that? Your wife's sick? Fuck you, pay me. What's that? Your house burned down? Fuck you, pay me. That's literally Trump. Trump's like, if you want to do business in America, fuck you, pay me. But he doesn't want to tax businesses. He just wants a vig. He wants a cut. He wants a taste, like a mafia boss. But he doesn't want taxes, because he would have to pay taxes. But, you know, taking a vig off of individual businesses, that's fucking right up Trump's alley. Oh, my Lord. In response, the ByteDance CEO says that Trump's real goal is for TikTok to disappear entirely. Here's where this gets important here, and what I wanted to discuss with all of you. U.S. government officials have repeatedly expressed concern that TikTok could pose a threat to national security should the data it collects on its American users end up in the hands of Chinese government. Under Chinese law, companies can be compelled to comply with government requests. TikTok, though, has said it stores data outside of China and that it would resist any attempts by Beijing to seize the information. So you got 2 or 3 important things here. Number one is the usual, everything is communism. You know, there's a communist party in China, but China has become very much a capitalistic nation with a burgeoning middle class over the last 20 years as we've sold off our manufacturing to them for pennies on the dollar. But we like to use the boogeyman of China and communism to decry anything, you know, we don't like or anything that's standing in our way from larger potential profits. So I thought I'd hit on this real quick, that they're concerned that TikTok would give information to the government if the government leaned on them. Here's where I remind you, all of your iPhones are built in China. All your shit is manufactured in China. In addition, let's see, Apple made a big stink over fighting the FBI, over the FBI wanting to take data out of phones, yet the United States government and police forces across America, this is back for this 2017 stats, requested 2,727 times. They requested data from a specific user for a criminal investigation, and Apple complied without a fight more than 1,400 of those 2,700 times. Also from 2017, Facebook is giving the U.S. government more and more data. Let's see, in 2017, the U.S. government requested data from Facebook 34,000 times, which Facebook granted 85% of those requests. Let's see, U.S. government requests for Google user data up 510% in the last decade. The United States is part of a global intelligence alliance known as the 14 Eyes, a coalition of 14 countries which agrees to share intelligence information with each other, including Canada, the UK, New Zealand, Austria, France, Denmark, Netherlands, Norway, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Italy, and Sweden, also called the White Countries. When compared to other countries in the 14 Eyes surveillance community, the study found that the U.S. leads the charge in government requests for data companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, and Twitter. In 2019 alone, the U.S. made more than 163,000 data requests from those tech companies. Even Twitter got asked, had more than 2,100 requests for data in just the first half of 2019. I'm looking for China on this list. Huh. Oh, that's right. You could barely use Twitter in China because they just banned the whole app. So when you hear that the U.S. government is concerned that TikTok could pose a threat to national security because the data it collects on American users can end up in the hands of the Chinese government, I want to remind you that every last piece of fucking mobile hardware that you use is built in China with chips from China. And that U.S. companies are bending over backwards to give all of your data to the American government. That is, after they sell it to marketing companies and for on-platform ads. Now, one last reminder. There's a lot of talk about security and there's a lot of talk about China and communism and Trump basically forcing a company to sell itself to another company and then demanding a VIG or a tribute because of, the hard work he did negotiating a deal by leaning on a company with the power of the federal government. But if all of this seems a little fishy to you, I just want to remind you that Trump really hates TikTok, just like he hates Amazon. He hates Amazon because he hates Jeff Bezos. He hates TikTok because the TikTok teens sabotaged his Oklahoma rally, to which only, 6,000 people came to. See all those empty seats? Because TikTok users went onto his website and they made an enormous online thing and they ordered hundreds of thousands of tickets to the point where they built a second stage outside and Trump was going to do 2 appearances at the rally. And the first appearance by itself even had nobody there, and they silently folded up the outdoor stage for the overflow, of which there was none, because the TikTok teens totally railed him. And of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was the one who rubbed his face in it. Now, I'm not saying this is why Trump finally decided to pull the trigger on the TikTok thing, but let's be honest. If it bruises Trump's ego, chances are Trump's going to use the power of the government to squash it because he is a very, very little man. Donald, I'm sure Microsoft and the Microsoft data centers that are completely fully equipped with all the ICE data and ICE software would like to thank you for your contribution.